Tourism plays a unique role of providing opportunities outside of big cities while also preserving cultural and natural heritage all around the world. Tourism can do a lot to improve development of rural communities by providing jobs and opportunity for those at the grassroots. This is the focus of this year's commemoration of World Tourism Day, which will take place on the 27th of September. And it comes at a time when countries look to the sector to drive recovery from the effects of the pandemic. Joining me now is the founder, Nigeria Travel Week, Ifetobo Awana. Good morning and thank you for joining us on TVC Breakfast.
Good morning and thank you for having me.
Now, the focus this year is looking at developing rural tourism. And this has been something that a lot of Nigerians have been talking about over the years. And also concerns were raised with the states of cultural sites, heritage sites, and because every state is seemingly blessed. And if we are looking at that now, I wonder what you think, especially the state we find ourselves now in trying to look inwards. Can the state at which our local tourism is, can it bring about that recovery that we are looking at?
Yes, definitely. And that's the beauty of tourism. You know, the theme for this year shows that tourism has a lot to do with helping rural communities to get development, to drive poverty alleviation. And when you look at the specific benefits of tourism, how it reaches the trickle-down effects that it has on communities. When a typical tourist visits a community, he stays in a hotel which employs people, and then the hotel in turn gets to buy produce because they must provide breakfast for the tourists. The farmers are employed. The tourists will go out and then take services of the, the shoe shiner. He'll buy soft drinks, he'll buy souvenirs, he'll probably attend a cultural event or maybe pay one or two people to dance or sing for him. You know, so basically everyone in that community
gets to benefit from it.
Gets to benefit from tourism.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's the theme for this year. How it really gets down to help the community.
But some will say that that is in an ideal situation because what we have on the ground now, it's if you go to some of the sites, it's quite disturbing with the situation.
Yes, we can. The sites can actually get better. However, we must start from where we are, and that's why you have campaigns like this year's campaign, for example. So the important thing is getting the locals involved, and that's why we have the team. So when communities know that they stand to benefit from tourism in their localities, then they get more involved. It means that they see every tourist who comes to them as
not
a potential,
them.
yes, as a potential source of revenue, and so they become friendlier. They also see their natural attractions as tools to also make money, and then it means then they must preserve them and maintain them, and that's basically how you get the whole chain working. So yes, at this point we have not gotten to where we see tourism as a business. And that is where, those are discussions we need to start having now, letting the locals know that, look, all of the attractions that you have, all of your cultural and heritage assets are things that you can turn into
means of generating
income, you know, and this is important, whether it is your language or your traditional dance, or even the animals, the fauna around you. I mean, look at localities where we have wildlife, unique wildlife around us in Lagos, for example, or even all around the country. We must start taking advantage of all of these things.
And that brings the concern that was also raised by the UN with regards to, developing, looking inwards in terms of providing the necessary leadership to drive this. Can state governments, perhaps partnership with state governments to look into all of these sites? Because the sites we are talking about, there are in states and we have the governors there. Do you think that also having conversations with the state governments to drive leadership could also be a way to perhaps look into developing our local tourism?
Yes, definitely. The states have all to do when it comes to tourism, particularly because the Nigerian Constitution also does, the recent Supreme Court judgment also does give the states the power to handle and harness their tourism assets. So the states have to, be at the forefront of pushing and driving tourism, especially in the rural communities. And of course, most of our cultural and heritage assets are in the rural communities. When you look at Lagos, for example, look at Badagry. And for now, what is being sold is just slave heritage. Right. But of course, you can, we've taken tourists on tours to experience the fishing village. Just going there and seeing how the fishermen sail out to the sea and come back with the catchment of fish. These are experiences that people will pay for. And what it does is you're encouraging the locals, the fishermen who normally will just sell, for a few naira, and now they can get extra money for what they have done for that
Now
day.
there are also concerns of security and the state of roads to some of these rural areas. The roads are deplorable, and then the security situation. How do we address this?
So with infrastructure, it's a vicious circle. What tourism does is that at the end of the day, either you provide those infrastructure for the purpose of tourism, or tourism gets to help you generate a pool or a want for those infrastructure. For example, you can decide to say, look, let's make that road to Badagry motorable. Or you can, after a while, see that, look, there's so much traffic going to Badagry, we have to do that road. So either ways, infrastructure and tourism go hand in hand. When governments are proactive and then they take those steps to work out, especially if they work with the travel trade, the tour operators, who then help them to identify, look, these are the potential areas that we can drive a lot of traffic and get a lot of revenue from tourism, then they can, proactively create infrastructure to these areas.
Now, some countries are exploring virtual tourism. Is that something perhaps we're looking to develop and should develop as time goes on? Because the pandemic is still on and safety precautions are still in place.
Yes, unfortunately, the pandemic, see me, struggling with with my mask on. So yes, it has come, but interestingly, it also has its silver linings. For so many months we could not leave Nigeria, and this has, brought the attention to domestic tourism. So we must also see that as an opportunity for us to take advantage and start to promote. Then concerning virtual tourism, of course, we're in the digital age, and every single technology that we can take advantage of to promote tourism, we have to take advantage of. And thankfully, we have companies today who are driving, who have the virtual tourism experience. So you can sit down, in a mall, for example. I know there's a mall in Lagos where you can actually visit and experience some parts of Nigeria tourism-wise. You can visit Lekki Conservation Center, for example, just sitting down in a mall. Now, what this does is it helps the tourist to be able to visualize himself in those attractions and see the need and creates a stronger want and need to visit those attractions, and that's what DMOs all over the world are taking advantage of to promote their tourism assets.
So now the point there is, the tourism, they say, is gold, and for the countries that understand the place of tourism, get the best of it. Nigeria may not be amongst those countries who understand and are doing everything to ensure they invest into it yet, but as it is right now, how has COVID-19 impacted on tourism, and what do you see going forward? Because everyone is, trying to be cautious of being out there and all of that, considering all the restrictions.
Yes, COVID-19, with all of its devastating effect on the tourism industry, has to some extent had a silver lining for a destination like Nigeria. because now people have nowhere to go. We are all stuck in this country. I mean, a lot of international travel will slow down for a very long time, as foreseeable as possible, because people will be scared, will be skeptical of traveling for fear of contracting the virus.
And even beyond that, there are still outright restrictions in some places by governments.
Yeah, the restrictions, the self-isolation policies in different countries, all of these will stop people from traveling. What it means is that they then have only Nigeria as the option. And this is where we need to step up our efforts to show them that, look, we have those, we have the potential to be able to provide for whatever needs we have.
No, but Efe, there's this notion that Nigerians are not very prone to recreation. Everyone is very busy working to survive, working to live by the day, that not so many people have this natural feeling of, I need to go on a vacation and all of that. What do you say?
I think it's a mindset, and it's true what you have said, that a lot of people do not see the need to travel for a holiday, for leisure, but that's very important, and it may be one of the reasons why we have a lot of burnout in our society. We have a lot of people who die of diseases like stroke, and I mean, there are lots of cases where depression, lots of cases where you just hear of somebody dropping dead, and you go. I mean, there was a particular day I had 3 appointments on the island, and all 3 of them called in sick. These were all bankers in Victoria Island, one certain day, and I had to start thinking, look, all of these guys are just overworking themselves. So this is a time to, and that's what domestic tourism has a potential to be able to solve, because now you don't need to travel for a whole week to be able to recharge. You can travel for just a weekend or for just 3 or 4 days, and you have been able to recharge your systems and come back.
But if we have to turn around the trend where we can take advantage of tourism, where should we really start from right now? And what is most important?
For me right now, what is most important is the tourism value chain.
Okay.
So we must plug the breakage in that chain. And what I mean by that is tourism is a business like every other industry. For it to thrive, you have to get to the point where you are able to say, look, this is 1,000 naira, this is 10,000 naira, and then people are able to buy. Now, everywhere else in the world, tour operators create packages, and then they sell to travel agents, who then sell to the consumer. Because tourists are sophisticated people. Nobody has the time to start Googling, where is Badagry, how do I get to Badagry, what hotel do I stay in, what do I do, and that. The tour operator creates that package, so that's his job. He comes together, looks at all of the beautiful things that people will enjoy, whether they are a family or a couple, and then.
So this is more of a private sector thing.
Yes, private sector has a lot to do. Private, yes, of course, government has duties. Government and the DMOs, the destination marketing organizations, have the duty of publicizing, of promoting, of saying, look, we have all of these attractions, but at the end of the day, what's all of the successful tourism countries do is, as they promote, they show you their tour operators. So we're saying, look, I mean, nobody starts a business without looking at the chain. Who are going to be the wholesalers or my major distributors and everything? You look out for that chain, and that's what we must do. Get the tour operators who have those packages and get the travel agents. But do we have
enough of those, the tour operators you're talking about? Do we have them competent with all of whatever they need to have, the skill they need to have, and the right accreditation and all of that? Do we have that?
So that is the point we need to get to, and that's why I said we must strengthen it. So yes, we have some tour operators who know how the industry works. We have a lot more who have just started because of passion and everything. A lot of young people who have
out of passion.
Okay.
So we need to be more intentional and getting them into that skill of doing it. Maybe we'll have to send everybody to Brazil for that.
We have all of the talent here. We
all
can
right.
do that here.
Okay, we have to leave it here now. Efe Tubo, thank you so much for your time on the program. And we thank you for what you're doing to promote tourism in Nigeria.
Thank you very much.
Right.
where people can trust them when they talk, and from there we can move on. But I think on the part of the labor, they should get more involved, not when the policy has actually been spelled out. That is when we start reacting to some of these things, because the masses definitely bear the brunt.
All right.